Shut up. Okay, so we got we're doing like a special little bonus thing. Well, it's not like the full episode.
So they don't get the full intro? Wow, you are sick, man.
Well, it's like I didn't want to give the wrong impression or something.
Okay. All right.
Give us a really good impression.
Hey.
All right, this is Sammy Davis Jr. Hey, come on. It makes sense with the thing we're talking about. We're so we did our full episode on the Master Gardener. There's no the. Drop the the. It's cleaner.
Yep.
But I have a longtime friend, known this feller since we were knee-high to a grasshopper. I don't know. Is that
it's trying to do a little New Orleans stuff? What is this?
I guess I was just trying to be like...
You don't have to impress me, buddy.
Regional. We grew up down there on the bayou.
Yes. Well, DC, I mean...
Riding a fan boat.
Kind of a swamp, I'm always
saying. Catching lightning bugs. And we both had accents that are okay to do. No, my friend Bob from forever ago is
hello.
Wow. He's a gardener in New Orleans, and I thought, let's do a technical check-in with Bob Martin. Bob, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Hello, be here. Okay, God, this is going poorly.
Did you say
that's
here?
The podcasting experience,
here?
And now that's the podcasting experience. Jake immediately trying to humiliate you for saying something wrong.
I mean, that's I think the friendship experience.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
I mean, but these are two boys who know this boy a long time, huh?
Yeah,
I could tell you. Anyways, Anyways, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here to chat about.
Thanks for coming.
Listen, it's a gardening movie. It's in New Orleans. I mean, that's me, as you said.
Yeah,
and
you have
that's
tattoos.
Why I take off your shirt. Yeah.
I mean, he does have them though.
Okay, but the normal kind.
Yeah, the pretty standard. Just like
I'm doing it. By the way, I took off my shirt.
Okay, yeah, he did.
He's got there's you got like some ducks and stuff.
I do have a duck. I'll show you that.
Natural tattoos that I'm aware of.
I have thought about that before, about the hiding of the tattoos. Mine are, not like really bad, but it's something to think about in that line of work.
Nobody would get really mad at you to discover probably the beginning of your relationship that this is part of your life. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
So Bob, tell us about, because you started gardening when you were living in Seattle, which is a sort of another bastion of far-right psychos.
A little east of there.
Northwest.
It is very freaking true, yeah.
So you started up there.
Yes, yeah, I had my college job, was on the grounds, did that, did some other things, went back to gardening. Now I've been gardening for like 11 years or something, running my own little gardening business here in New Orleans, yeah. But I used to work at like bigger company, and especially when I worked at the college, there's a lot of similarities to their sort of the crew hang that they've got going on in Master Gardener.
Was that fun? Did you like the crew hang? Is it was there camaraderie?
It is pretty good. I feel like that kind of job, I mean, there's like freaks everywhere or whatever, but that kind of job, at least it's like, well, we can just talk about being outside, I guess. It makes it like pretty easy.
Was it all work studies students, or were there some like adults there?
Yeah, there was like adults who ran it, and then you met another Ian.
Wow.
I did meet the other Ian. Yeah,
I gardened with there, but yeah, that was like our bosses it was like their full-time job, but
so you were sort of the Maya in this situation.
The apprentice.
Yes, yeah. In
the apprentice.
Many ways. No. Just like in that I had a job for an adult.
I see.
Yeah. You were wearing some weird pasties, so when you were naked, you still looked like you weren't.
Well, she has a tie-dye shirt that says like,
bad vibes alert. What does it say?
Yeah, good vibes only. Maybe.
Good vibes only.
Yeah. The future is feminism or whatever. I mean, it is, but the shirt's annoying.
Yeah. Wait, that part was also, I watched it for like the second time for this, and it was way funnier the second time, I will say. But also that guy's shirt, that really made me laugh when we saw that guy's shirt. The guy from Mission Impossible.
Yeah, S.I. Morales.
Just like, what?
I didn't say this on the main episode, but when you're in the loony bin, where you're in some sort of intensive psychiatric care, sometimes they'll refer to suicidal ideation as SI, so that like people aren't saying suicidal all the time.
Right.
So anyway, I think of that guy as being named Suicidal Ideation Morales.
Wow,
now.
that's tough for him.
Really specific.
So that's just a little fun stuff.
Totally. Been to that diner, by the way.
Oh wow!
You have?
Okay.
Yes,
Apparently
that
it's
is
called
actually
Dots in real life.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
I've been there before. Yep.
How is it?
Bad.
Now we got one review about one menu item. Can you tell us about any menu items that you enjoyed?
God, I've been there. My wife, she has been there more because she grew up here. But
Okay.
not to be like Borat, but
Sure.
I think we don't do him anymore.
Cajun Borat. Yeah, no,
Okay, wait, but
Here he
Cajun
comes.
Borat. But
Yeah.
Cajun Borat, he keeps his sister in a big gumbo pot or something.
And everybody at home, they just edited out everything else, but you got to hear that one little,
Yeah,
jokes.
yeah.
But we did a
There's
lot
a
of
lot
stuff
TV.
on that.
They're doing. Wait, so when he and the other guy are wrestling nude and his balls are flopping in the guy's face, there's also they
In Master
shovel
Gardener?
in Cajun Borat. They take
Right,
they take a paper plate full of cayenne pepper and pour it right on the guy's balls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's really good.
So you've been to Dots.
I have. It's just fine. It's fine. It's like a chain diner,
Okay.
you know. Yeah.
Oh,
it's not.
It looks decent on camera. I guess.
Yeah. It's like it's a cute place.
Would you meet your WITSEC handler there?
It's
if
honestly,
you were in
I
witness
do feel like
protection?
it is actually like an extremely busy place. So I don't even know if that would really be the best spot for that.
Well, maybe you get the anonymity of there's too much going on to
That's true.
notice who's coming in and out. Okay, so then you moved to New Orleans when?
Like 2 years ago. Yeah.
So far, have you detected any kind of difference in gardening practices, tendencies, the kinds of people who are working in gardening in the different places? Have you picked up on any?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
major
totally.
differences?
Which, I mean, some of it, which speaks to the film, is that like there's all this just like the historical gardening, like the French gardens that he talks about.
Mhm.
That's like very big in New Orleans because of big French city, you know.
Yep.
So there's all like you'll see lots of like, especially like uptown, like fancy neighborhoods or whatever, where the judges and whatever live. You'll see like all the formal like hedges, and it's called like potage is what they call it. The like which they used to have it be like there would be these formal outlines and then like vegetables and all these other kind of crazy stuff growing in the middle of it. But yeah, there's like, it's so because like New Orleans is so different than like Louisiana, but
How so? Just because it's such a
yeah, it's its own little like
specific little thing. Okay.
yeah, it's sort of like a little European, more I guess quote unquote progressive city in like Louisiana, and like a just kind of a more
in the middle of
right.
Have you worked on any of those French gardens? Like, what kind of stuff are you doing personally?
Yeah, well, I wanted to. I mean, you're jumping to New Orleans. If we're gonna backtrack, I want to start with what's campus gardening like, and then we can get the full.
Okay.
Well, and
Right.
also, you do need to tell us the story of gardening at Macklemore's house.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's come up
yeah.
on Pod.
I believe I've talked about it.
I
don't know
also
if we
love how
edited
far
that.
from the truth it is now.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it true that you killed Macklemore while you were at his house?
I was the one who told him to start like using his platform a little bit more,
Oh, yeah,
more
hey.
wisely.
You're
and
like,
he really
think about
listened
what
to
your
me.
life was like in third grade. Is anything crazy happened to you?
But yeah, campus gardening was like, so it's at this little college, Seattle University, which is like has a famous garden in Seattle. It's like a very nice garden designed
Does it really?
by.
I don't think I remember that.
Yeah, it's a very. I mean, how much attention we were paying to that, and when
Yeah.
we were 19
I
or
came to
whatever.
visit, and Bob and I were mostly playing Run Into the Wall. That was our favorite game we would play when we were
Great.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining a lot of lawns and hedgerows and beautiful trees, or was it something else? Is this non-traditional?
It was kind of non-traditional. There'd be like a bunch of big, lawns on the quad, etc. But then there's
Right.
also like there's a lot of like cool, like there's a little meditation garden.
Okay.
There's like a little labyrinth. They're like Jesuits, so they're a little woo as far as Catholic schools go, you know.
Yeah.
But I was like the assistant to the guy who did irrigation there, so I just did irrigation. I just pretty much dug holes the entire time. Which
Oh yeah, man.
Like
I know this game. Now you're talking my language.
We're gonna have him on the show soon.
my old boss.
No, Doug Holes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we should have your old boss on too. What's his name?
I would,
give me his
honestly,
contact info.
Here, I'll give you one little bit about him so you know what that would be like. He was like awesome, but he was like constantly just chain smoking cigs, and he would like always have one flopping out of his mouth, and we'd be like, you know, have the hole dug or like go into the hole that was already dug or something like that. And he would just like lie on his stomach with his arms in, like messing with the pipes with the cig just dangling there. Just,
that rules.
It never leaves. He gets up. It's just like you know,
like Indiana Jones's hat.
yes, yeah.
I like this guy.
Yeah, he was pretty. And his kind of motto was, "Bob, we don't get paid enough to sweat."
Now that's a really interesting motto to be be working outside in the garden.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you.
But it's in
It
Seattle.
was sort of
so
metaphoric,
Sure,
you know. I think, like,
yeah,
you
I
know.
think so. Yeah,
I think it was words to live by, though, as far as I'm concerned.
I like that. Yeah. All right. So so that's campus gardening,
okay.
There's that.
and then Macklemore's house.
Yeah. So then I did that through college. Never finished college. Did a bunch of other things, and then was like, oh, that was the best part of college. Found my way back to gardening.
Love it.
Mm.
And then I was working for the place I worked for in Seattle before I moved here. We like worked at this woman's house in this really fancy neighborhood in Seattle, like very like, you know, you're on top of a hill overlooking like the Puget Sound. And below her house was not Macklemore, but Ryan Lewis. Do we remember
Ryan
him?
Lewis.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
But that was his house was down there, I guess.
Oh my god.
So Jake has fully lied on
Yes.
Pod. Yeah.
And so I was
You
working.
can play a game of telephone with yourself.
It's true. Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. But it was so I could hear from her backyard. I could hear down below his house. I did one day was working out there and did hear Macklemore music blasting from Ryan Lewis's house. So that makes up for it maybe, but
So Jake had made fun of this guy for being like, I think what he had said was specifically in his version, Macklemore was out of town, but there was Macklemore music playing at the house. But this is actually quite nice. This is like me listening to Jake's side of the podcast at home. Just like
You're
for
right.
fun.
You're right. You're right. Well,
This is really cool.
I guess I kind of imagine, like, you know, if you have I don't know if you guys ever do this, but if you go out of town and you have someone like feeding the cats for you or whatever, you tell them to, hey, turn some lights on and off just so it looks like someone's here. So maybe I was imagining that Macklemore's cat sitter was playing Macklemore music so people would think he was home.
I can hear his voice. Like,
He must be in there.
everything is awesome. A lot of that kind of stuff. Is that him? Yeah.
You know,
I
I
don't
can't
know.
even say if that is him in the song, unfortunately.
Roger
Gun to my
Klotz
head.
looking
Listen,
ass.
I'm here
Yeah,
for
that might be
technical
Wayne's.
gardening, not
Yeah,
Macklemore
it's
stuff.
all right.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I got to get some technical questions in here. First of all, I mean,
All right. Tech Quest.
totally different experience to mine. I have done gardening and agricultural stuff in California a little bit, mostly in Oaxaca. And you have gardened in what I believe is one of the only states that has a rainforest in the United States.
It's
like
true.
in the north. So what is it like to just have abundance of water? I mean, what is that? It just sounds so glorious. Was that not the case for you?
Yeah, it's like so that the rainforest is on the peninsula, which
Right,
is
right.
like probably 3-4 hours to get to from where you have to like cross the Puget Sound, which is one of the coolest places ever. It's amazing.
Love it.
But in Seattle, like they have kind of a drought season, and so they kind of have some droughts. They do.
Wow.
And it's,
Surprised to hear
would
this.
you believe it?
Okay.
Getting worse and worse.
Yeah. Now this I understand also.
Yes.
Yeah. And your attraction to gardening initially, look, I think you don't have to explain to me the appeal of just being around plants and working in the earth. And but I think it is a special thing
Cactus.
to be trying to.
Bush.
Very good, Jake. Very good.
Yeah.
He said round plants. So
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes. For both of
mushroom.
those.
Some mushroom.
Some. Yeah.
Not really a plant, I guess.
But either way, I thought you were doing great also. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Dude.
So what, but what is this? I think the special appeal in my mind of a garden, my mother is a very capable gardener and has always been into gardening, has a lot of the books that you would expect to see from somebody who loves gardening. And the appeal of like trying to understand the ornamental side, and then also this sort of like companion planting, but not necessarily for food production, which I'm more familiar with, and also this concern now, I think, for things like biodiversity and attracting pollinators and these other things that have become a part of gardening. Do you feel like, I mean, which of these elements appeals to you?
Yeah, I mean, I like when I was gardening in Seattle, that was like a very fine gardening, like really tight, it was like no, chemicals, all electric tools, all these certain things to sort of
that's great.
Try to, which is like how I was kind of trained. And then, but now here, like where you're talking about, I feel like native planting is becoming more and more popular, which is very good. But it's not like Louisiana's like a big spot for that. Just it's like pretty popular. So that's like my specific gardening here is, I mean, I kind of do whatever for the most part. I don't do any lawn stuff, which is extremely nice.
That's brave and bold of you.
Yeah,
we applaud this. A salute.
It's the worst in so many ways. Yes, they're so bad, and it's and I just don't give a shit about them. Don't want to have to give a shit, but yeah. So I basically try to plant natives pretty much as I can, as much as people like them and stuff, which is pretty sweet. We got a lot of great plants out here, and you get all sorts of butterflies, and a lot of it is just like training
people.
Beautiful
also, kudzu. I love to see that stuff growing.
Yeah, I was gonna say kudzu, and then I was worried about getting made fun of for knowing of the one plant.
Jake, do you think that's the energy here?
Oh no,
the famous New Orleans willow.
Beautiful.
Yes. Well, listen, the black willow, that is a great native tree. So
I was thinking
it sucks metals out of the ground.
Yeah, that's always cool, huh?
Yeah. So
like Magneto.
So you were kidding, Jake, but actually that was really smart to say.
That was so smart.
Thank you. And Scarlett Johansson is so good as Black Willow in those movies.
But he talked about this in, not to be so like Mr. Podcast, but he does talk about this in the movie where he's like,
you can be Mr. Podcast. We're all Mr. Podcast. We're all.
I was going to say it'd be nice to have one on the show.
Jesus Christ. So yeah, I mean, in the film, to what extent are these native plants? I mean, we're in obviously it's in a very particular context of like a private garden for fancy people.
Yeah, I was looking it up. I think it's called Rosedown is the name of the place.
One of them is Rosedown and the other one is something else. Our guest knew the name of both.
I think Rosedown is where they filmed the garden as part of it. There's one scene where he's like teaching her. We're there in the New Orleans Botanical Garden.
Yeah.
Which is cool. You can really tell it's winter. I mean, everything's died back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just true, folks. But
I mean, this is no laughing matter.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, I feel like that place is not. That's not the vibe. I haven't been to that place. I think you can go and visit. A lot of those places, even now, they might have some little pocket dedicated to that. Now it's become
right. They have like the native garden or whatever.
Right. But it's like, that's mostly stuff from not here, I guess. Yeah.
That's trying to look like England and France or whatever.
Yeah. Which I don't know. I mean, there's like, I have some amount of admiration, I don't know, like respect for some of the aesthetics of that, like
it's an impressive practice, but maybe its time has come and gone.
And it honestly just can have such a weird vibe, like just you have a house that looks sort of like a plantation. You got all these. It's just kind of like, ugh.
I mean, it looks exactly like a plantation.
I mean, but he's right. But in general, you're doing like a mini Versailles or something. It's like the cultural inheritance of this. Yeah.
Have you run into any people whose opinions and values vis-a-vis gardening feel like eugenics? Like we talked about this on our episode, which hasn't come out yet, but like the history of eugenics is tied into the history of like horticulture. Like they're
I didn't know that.
Related. Yeah, I mean, I read an article about how if you were getting a horticulture degree at like a A&M school at the turn of the century, like you would often have to take eugenics 101 or whatever.
That's bad. Can I say that?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you.
Yep.
But have you, because I mean, you feel this sometimes if you ever like if you ever hear dog breeders talk,
Oh, God, yeah.
that feels like, that feels like eugenics. I guess sort of the maybe I'm going backwards, where like the application of that way of thinking to human beings is
No, but you're right. You get some like scientific misogyny from dog breeder types too, of like, look, I'm just not one to deny like natural traits, and there are sex linked traits, and some of this does occur.
A lot of the times they're calling the dog a bee.
Yeah. You hate that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Bob.
Sorry. It's going exactly how I thought it would.
I mean, no, nothing like quite like that. I feel like luckily I found a pretty nice like horticulture community here of like-minded people, but I certainly nothing quite like that crazy. But I will say I do have this one client who's like, as soon as I'm busy enough, I would love to fire her as my client, but she's not nice enough and pays me fine, but pays me, but like I mean, to start off the description for her, she has like her backyard is she has these two pieces of art like on the wall of the covered patio, and one is like a cutout of like a classic sort of hula girl, which weird,
Okay.
but it's kind of like, okay, like I could see how you might not know that that's weird. But then next to it is a cutout of basically like a propaganda cartoon of like a Viet Cong soldier.
Yep. All right.
It's like, well, what the fuck? And he's like holding
What's
a gun.
going on?
And it's like making a face like, I'm going to shoot you with my gun. It's like,
okay.
So she travels a lot, and
sounds like it.
Yeah.
It's just like,
that's
why,
real.
why would you want to bring that vibe into your backyard of like,
it's
the
really
war?
weird. Yeah.
But she's just like, the exact opposite of my ethos, I guess. She just is like every week I'm there, she has like new little annual plants for me to plant and throw out the next week. And
are we pushing for perennials? What are we doing over here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest, I mean, I don't know. Annuals is just like a whole type of plant or whatever. And there's lots of them that I like that just do their thing and die, and they seed to themselves and come back.
Yeah.
More the like big box plant factory of like pansies and etc. It's just like so wasteful, and it's just like, God, you're just buying like 20 of these plants twice a year. It's like, how many plastic boxes, etc. It's just, she's just so there's nothing quite like that where somebody's like, hey, I like plants different than you, and that's also why I'm racist. But
maybe a little bit of both. Yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
And do you notice any other like classed or for Louisiana racial dynamics that come up? I mean, I think all three of us have worked in jobs where people can sort of decide how they're going to treat you. And then obviously you, Bob, are in a position, I think it's great that you have your own business. You can also tell people to fuck off and, go somewhere else.
I mean, there's, I guess like the most I've experienced that is thinking about how often it's not a big deal for me to just walk right into someone's backyard.
Yeah.
Like kind of unannounced.
No immediate suspicion.
Yes. And just as like, and you definitely notice like there's a lot more people of color who, work for like the city or like doing like mowing the parking strip, and it's just like, damn, that looks fucking brutal. Like, which I don't know how good of a job it is. Maybe it's fine, but there's also definitely like some nice camaraderie and the like, hey, you're working outside, I'm working outside. All right. Hey, nice to see you, buddy. But, and then there's definitely like, I mean, there's just at least a class, there's just definitely an overall sense of like, especially in like these fancier neighborhoods where, it's honestly sometimes the fancier garden, the less I have to do, where it's just like, I'm actually just these like really fancy formal gardens. It really doesn't require that much knowledge necessarily. Like there's like a skill to it, but it is just like, just like cutting everything into boxes, and which like takes some finesse, but not, you just have to know how to do that. You don't need to know what the name of anything
Species
is.
recognition or something. Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of which, we have a question from our guest on our main episode, Matthew Germanis. I reached out to ask him if he had any questions for Bob, and he did. He wanted to know if any of the plants in the film had any specific meanings, if there's any kind of... did you notice any symbolism, perhaps, to any of the species featured?
I was trying to look for it. I feel like I didn't really feel that much... or see that much of that. There was like, I was taking notice of all the plants in the opening, which I do like the sort of sped up opening of the flowers.
Credits, yeah.
We got azalea, amaryllis, orchid, tulips, crocus, jasmine, iris, columbine. But
jasmine, like New Orleans jazz, maybe
like a New Orleans jazz man.
Yeah.
Oh, and that reminds me of the impression I was going to do earlier, which I never got to.
God.
This has been awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Catch you
but
later.
The only I was like really trying to hone in on that specifically, but there wasn't really like I mean I feel like all the like the general
like
side
violets
stuff
for remembrance or something. There's not like some of that in there.
No.
Yeah.
There was. I feel like all the plant metaphors. It's like really obvious what they like. He like kind of spells it out. I feel like the seeds and his tattoos, etc.
Yep. Yeah.
He's like. I remember I was rewatching it and I was like, oh wow, yeah, his tattoos. But then he says, my tattoos are basically the seeds. I was like, oh right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was right.
Sometimes Paul likes to give it to you straight.
He does.
Which,
He does,
whatever.
yeah.
But no, there was. Yeah, there was. You have to tell your guest. No.
Okay, I will tell him that. Do you ever do the sniff the soil stuff?
Yeah, so that's one of my. That is totally how you tell if it's good shit.
I fucking said it. I said it.
Yeah.
I was
No,
like,
you ain't said it. I knew you'd say yes. But do you like it? Do you enjoy this?
Yeah, I mean, I actually have a very bad sense of smell, but yes, but yeah, you get Rieger in there. I mean, all the horticulture science stuff is like right on. Like they definitely nailed it. They talked to somebody for sure. Yeah,
I'm sure they did.
Yes.
Are there really 38 kinds of hoe?
I meant to look that up, but there are like a shit ton of that. Oh yes, there are like there are so many types of.
But are we talking
tools.
like? Are they counting, the equivalent of like different sized wrenches as different types of hoe?
Good question.
I mean, maybe so. I feel like there's like a hula hoe, which is like a round one.
Your client probably likes that.
she probably really does. Yes. Yeah. There's just a hoe that's flat and heavy, and there are
There's
a bunch
the Idaho
of
and the Idaho.
Exactly. You are good. You are on tonight, my man.
I wrote that one down. No, I didn't. I didn't. I promise. I'll share my screen. screen. And then also I have here. How do you feel about race play? Like sexually?
Yeah. Is that normal for you guys?
Come on.
Hey, it hasn't really come up.
You can answer that, but you don't have to. Okay, cool. Ian, your question. The field is yours.
Sure. Thank you so much. Yeah, my other questions were just, do you find yourself fulfilled by this as like an artistic expression? Do you, is this just like, is it work that you happen to enjoy? I think it's good for people to be honest about what their job represents for themselves. Yeah.
I've definitely had like a journey with it. It was like just a new job I needed that I thought I would like at a certain point, and then I really was like, oh wow, this is like the best job I've ever had. And then I was like, I wish I didn't have to have a job. And then
yeah.
And then like a few more years later, you're like, oh, I guess this is my career. Like, turns out that I've been doing this long enough now. And then, I definitely. I mean, it's a bit of both. I guess it's sort of day to day, but I do feel, especially now working for myself, it is like, it's much more fulfilling, and I don't always get to feel like creative or anything like that, but sometimes I do. I get to design somebody's garden, and it's like, I got a few clients where I've like totally put in a new garden. It's all native plants, and it's looking great. Wow. And
very cool. Now
that I've been doing it like a year, I've gotten to see some of them, through the whole year, which is like cool. And, they say it
you get a
sleeps,
cool
creeps, and leaps, if you've heard that.
I haven't, but I have now.
That's a garden. They say the first year it sleeps, second year it creeps, third year it leaps.
It's
okay.
I mean, it is very cool. It's hard to talk about this stuff without being like kind of self-effacing and ironic, but it is exciting to see plants grow
it's so
and
cool.
engage with each other.
I
and
can't really do
get
it.
excited about like rhizomal activity and stuff, mycorrhiza. Yeah.
No, like especially getting into the native planting, and I just did this like master naturalist course here in Louisiana. That was very
that's
cool.
the name of the movie.
Almost.
Did you get a certificate or anything?
Not yet. I have to finish my volunteer hours, but there is a master gardener. It's similar to the master gardener program that people go through.
That's crazy.
But it's cool. But those classes have been cool. Where it's just, you're smelling the soil. You start to pay attention. There's more to see.
Yeah.
Pay more attention. More to see. It just keeps on going. Sort of all the little connections and things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite native plant to the
North
New Orleans area, or maybe a smattering you'd like to shout out?
I do. The mallows in general. That's my favorite family of plant. Malavaceae, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. I think that sounds right.
Which we got okra is a mallow. We got hibiscus. There's all kinds. But the native mallows, there's specifically one scarlet rose mallow. Hibiscus cochineus. I forget how to say the double C, but that's a good fucking plant.
Wow.
I'm
you
looking
got
at
durian.
it now. Looks great.
Durian looks like it's also a mallow.
Oh,
How are all
I
these
didn't know
things
that.
mallows? That's crazy.
There's a bunch of mallows. They're great. Love them. But
Shout
that's
out
a great
to all the
plant.
mallows.
Likes to in gardening terms, keep its feet wet.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Yep.
I've heard that it sleeps, creeps, and leaps.
Yes,
I'm gonna kill you now. Yeah.
You heard this one? Thriller, spiller, filler.
No, what's that? I want to know what that is.
That's like a arrangement thing where you have like the thriller is the middle part, filler around, and spiller is what's coming.
Wow.
I like
heard
that.
This is interesting. Okay.
I to be clear, the sleeps, creeps, and leaps thing I like very much, and I just sound
It's
like
good.
this, Ian. I don't want you to think that I think less of. I'm impressed by all of this, and I wish that I did this instead of spreadsheets.
Yeah,
to be
man,
very clear.
Everything's
can.
good here, buddy.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
We're not fighting. What?
Oh, wait, can I share this funny thing I found when I was
Please.
looking up some stuff? So I found it's on brproud.com, Baton Rouge Proud. It's like some little
Okay.
Baton Rouge,
I'm
which
scared.
is
I don't like the pride. The pride
Yeah,
aspect.
I don't like
this
this
scared of.
proud word. Yeah.
Rosedown Plantation is like just outside of Baton Rouge, but I found this article when I was just looking up like where do they film it or whatever, and then I found this article just saying like they filmed it here and this blah blah blah, and then one of the subheadings is what's the movie about? Anyway, this is Master Gardener introduces audiences to Narvel Roth, a horticulturalist who dedicates himself to caring for the gardens on a large estate a wealthy older woman owns. But Roth's life turns upside down when his employer asks him to watch her troubled great niece. They really left out a lot of parts.
That is, but also there's
True.
no lie.
No,
Yeah.
where's the lie?
Very careful.
I was like, of course, on Baton Rouge Proud, they couldn't talk about these.
Right.
We didn't really ask you. So what do you think of the film?
I like it quite a bit. I do feel like it is so kind of specific to my, the trappings of the story, I guess, are so specific to me.
Yeah.
I feel like when it's something that's in your area, it can go either way. There's
Totally.
this sort of like doctors watching House or something, making
Yes.
fun of it, like, but. Yeah, I felt, at least for me,
Real
I'm
estate
not
agents watching
quite
House.
as overlapping as you are. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I also was like, it's like that, like what you're saying, like if you're, like I feel like I knew some guy who's a jazz drummer who hated the movie Whiplash,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
like,
I knew a different guy, I think,
Yes.
but who felt
I
the
think
same
I know a
way
lot
for
of
the
people
same reason.
didn't like it, but,
Right.
when, when I went and saw the movie in theater, I was definitely like keeping it, watching out, and I was just like, damn it, you know what?
Crossing your arms like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
They
call this guy Neil. They call this guy Neil the Grass Tyson.
Yes.
Neil No Grass Tyson, they call him.
Thank you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Well, but what about wild grasses?
What about them? Well, actually, they're extremely important, And they think a lot of these grasses out here have been living longer than some of these old growth forests.
Hey, so you know what, Ian?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, you're right. Mr. Deep Root Structure here to save the day.
Mr. Deep Root
Anti-flooding.
We need those graminoids,
Yeah.
guys. Come on, seriously.
Yep.
I've been saying
It's
that
true.
from Tremors. So,
But yes, I liked it. It's
You
not
like the
my
film.
favorite of before we started recording the Whiskey Desk trilogy or whatever. Like,
yeah.
I would also say
Quite good.
First Reformed, Card Counter, and Master Gardener. But it just sort of
Yeah, of course.
And honestly, watching it again, I was kind of like it didn't feel as intense the second time, and I was sort of like, it actually is more about gardening than I thought.
Yep.
On the second watch, it is like quite a bit about gardening.
There's a fair amount of it is about gardening. Have you seen Cat People? Paul Schrader's Cat People?
No, I haven't.
It's shot in New Orleans, but it was not part of the assignment, so you're off the hook. And then I assume you haven't seen Obsession.
No, I haven't.
Which is another Paul
That's
Schrader
his-
scripted New Orleans film.
Oh,
New
These are,
Orleans
I'll have to watch
trilogy.
this.
Yeah.
and you're allergic to cats. Is that right?
Yes. Well, some. Well,
So-
we actually, that cat you saw.
Wow.
Yeah,
Feels like Bob's getting
cat-sitting
found out on the
on
podcast.
Instagram. Sorry.
We were doing a trial run with this cat, but we actually just had to take him back to the owner today because he was terrorizing our dog.
Oh,
Oh, no.
it's the cat's fault.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah.
what happens in the movie Cat People, though. You might want to check it out.
Yeah, well, sounds like it'd be good.
Maybe just
to
relate to the experience.
Yeah, totally.
And then just what are your general Schrader opinions, if you have any remaining beyond the Whiskey Desk trilogy?
I love the guy. I haven't. He has so many movies I haven't seen, but I mean, I love.
Not me. I've
Yeah.
fucking
Right,
seen
that's
him,
true.
dude.
That's true.
Sorry to show off.
No, like I totally.
pretty much closed the book on this.
That's probably good
Yeah.
for Jake to hear.
Almost closed the book. Yeah, I suspected that Ian had seen most of them.
Yeah.
I love American
this point.
Gigolo. You know, the Mishima. Love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like pretty much. I mean, he has a lot of movies that I know I would not like, but I just haven't seen. You know, that are just the ones the you know.
Adam Resurrected, or
I don't know.
whatever.
He's got a lot of them out there. You all know, but
yeah.
I feel like
we're
I've pretty much
familiar.
watched, you know, the ones that people generally say to like, you know, and I like his nasty vibe.
He does have a nasty vibe, and that's thank God you like a nasty vibe, because otherwise, you know, I don't know if we would have really. If you would have liked me
It's
that
true,
much.
it's
Sure.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep.
And I like this movie. This trilogy is they're nasty, but they're very like sweet.
Mm-hmm. There's a
And
gentleness amidst the nasty.
Yes, I just feel like in this movie in particular, the ending is like kind of, I don't know. I sort of liked it, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy in a certain
It's
way. It's
corny,
like an
but
extremely
it's-
crazy ending, but
Yeah.
and the song is like so funny.
It's very
very
crazy.
But I'm just sort of like, you know
grew
what?
on me while listening to it. We didn't get into it, but the reveal of the song is a real
Yeah.
like, oh no.
It's like the end of like Avatar. or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, with the one with the Weekend song, or
Yes,
the
yeah.
first Avatar song is
Lady
Leona
Gaga?
Lewis.
Oh,
Bleeding
right,
Heart.
right.
Oh.
It's not that song, but it's that lady. And then the
Right.
second one is The Weeknd.
Yes.
The Way of Water has a Weekend song.
But
yeah, I think Schrader found like a country song that he liked the lyrics of, but he didn't like the fit, so he had Blood Orange cover it. But you know, it's an odd mixture.
I like that he'll go so dark, but then I feel like that I don't know, and I like the sweetness. You know, I think Card Counter is kind of like that too. I feel like there was some just like. Listen, let the guy have a nice little romance while he's going through all this stuff. You know, it's like that's nice.
Yeah,
I don't
Let
know.
him have a night with Tiffany Haddish. From,
Yeah.
Yes, he's
Girls
not as. I'm glad that he's not all just like crusty. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, he's horny too.
Yeah,
Do you have a favorite gardening movie outside of this?
that is a great question.
It's okay if the answer is no. There aren't that many.
Yeah, the things that come to mind. One is The Draftsman's Contract.
Excuse
You know,
me.
the
I
Peter
haven't
Greenway
seen
movie.
this, but
Whoa,
I'm
a Peter
familiar
Greenway
with.
movie
I'm
called The
familiar with it.
Draftsman
Yeah.
Contract.
It is.
Okay.
It is insane. I mean, it's like I've seen like 3 of his movies or whatever, and you know he's a crazy guy. He's a horny, nasty boy, but I do like love. It's very like formal. You know, I say gardening, and just that a lot of the movie takes place in these like very formal gardens, and which I think this is like true to history, is that there would be, instead of these statues of like a naked figure, there would be an actual naked person.
Oh,
standing there, which is like, so there'll be these 2 people in this movie having models. This like secret conversation in the back of the garden, and then there'll just be a person naked, painted bronze, like
sort of does return to those colonial people owning origins of just making people be like live performance figures for you. Yeah,
right.
Wow.
Yeah,
and then not a movie, but the show Scavenger's Reign.
Oh yeah, I've seen a little bit of this.
This is an interesting program. I like it. I like it quite a bit. Yeah,
it is really wonderful and has like a sort of, you know, horticulture naturalist sort of.
It's an animated sci-fi show on Max, I believe.
I think now it's on Netflix. Yeah.
Excuse me, it's
I didn't
on
know that. But
Netflix.
Very like open sense of like, what does it mean to be like a species, or like what is good or bad about, you know, this desire to like propagate or something. You know,
and just all these like cool made up ways that the ecosystem connects that honestly are just as crazy as ours.
I know.
That's big blue marble type of stuff. Yeah,
we got some crazy shit out here. That is real.
That is true. You like Avatar? You ever seen this Avatar movie? You like that?
I mean, I do.
You like stuff like that? Yeah, me too.
There's probably some gardening in there too. I can't think of another gardening movie. I'm sure there are some, but you know.
I mean, I can think of like farming movie, like Only Yesterday.
Yes, that's actually a really good example.
There's like some films,
bit of gardening, farming in there. Yeah,
there's some line in that movie, some particular line that is where I don't know, like the guy, he like the farmer guy, he says something about soil and the earth, which I wish I could remember it, but it was just like, fuck, like that is like, I've never heard anybody say it as good as that, like about why the earth is good.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes those, especially those Ghibli movies, they'll really hit you with it.
They really sum it up.
Earth is good.
You ever take your shoes off somebody's house? You ever get the pop the toes out?
Oh,
wow.
Those tootsies.
Yeah, I mean, me too, I guess. I've never really thought about it. Yeah.
Well, also, if you go to Japan, it's sort of it's just
sure.
polite.
I guess, I mean, I've been out in the dirt, you know. I like old gnarl.
Yeah.
That's sort of the thing.
Grounding
where people like, I feel like, and they sort of, I don't know, they sort of hint at this in Master Gardener, but like, you know, his like being invited inside, his like, is this okay? You know, your clothes and stuff. I've definitely had those experiences before where like, you know, you have to go to the bathroom, and I usually just go somewhere else because it's honestly just can be so weird to walk into people's houses. I'm like,
yeah. But you take your shoes off before you do it, right? Yes,
but sometimes somebody's like, can you come and look out this thing or whatever? Just like come in. I'm like, okay. And it's just, I'm like disgusted, you know, and it's just like, okay, sorry. I'm like really messy. And even if you take, you know, I don't know, just using someone's bathroom and you're like washing your hands and like,
right, your filthy
you get like
hands
dirt all over their sink, and you're like using their napkins to try and like clean up their sink after yourself. It's just
becoming the Mr. Bean of your client's bathroom.
yes, yeah.
Mr. Beanstalk.
Oh,
exactly, Jake.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Bob, have you ever had anybody sort of seductively bring you like a pitcher of something to drink? You ever had anybody try to hit on you with a refreshment?
Tea. Yeah.
You know what? I really haven't, which honestly, thank God. Like, I've had people kindly.
That sounds stressful.
Yes, I've had people kindly bring me
normal
out
style. Yeah.
Actually, speaking of the woman's house I worked at, who lived right above Ryan Lewis, Macklemore's
wife,
partner, or something.
Yeah.
When I would work there and have my lunch break, she would bring us out a little bit of wine and like some fresh fruit, and it was cool as hell. It was very. It would
cool.
sit on her like deck overlooking
fresh
the Puget
bottle
Sound.
of Mackle Merlot.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. I have a final question, unless Ian has any he'd like to ask before we sort of close things up.
Mm-hmm.
What about Malbec Moore? Is that anything?
Malbec Moore is also good.
Okay.
I like that too.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
He should Malbec less.
Oh yeah, I think that's really
Return to
good.
that
I'm not
classic tweet.
I have
You're
like
not gonna
4 or
do one.
5
It's
that
okay, you
came to
don't have to.
mind, but I just
Sure,
would rather not.
Yeah, opting out. Smart,
Yeah.
very mature of you.
Macklemore, he once tweeted about a plant.
Oh,
when he
okay.
said 9/11 Bush knocked down the towers.
Oh, nice.
Thank you so much.
I mean, my only questions is stuff that I like to hear about and get people excited about. Bob, you like any backyard sustainability tip, like a bit of rainwater harvest or like composting, mulching, anything you like to?
That is great. I think, honestly, especially this time of the year, it's people who have gardens who they like to keep tidy. Just don't tidy up anything until the spring.
Oh, yeah.
Just leave all the flower stalks through the winter, leave the leaves, leave all the dead flowers, leave the dead leaves for...
Yep.
Let them mulch up.
Yeah, things will eat them, things will live under them, they'll decompose, that's like the main one. It's like,
Love to hear it.
Yeah. After the last frost.
Then you could leap. Then you could leap into action. Yeah.
Do you do this?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Thank you for the
I guess in California,
genuinely helpful tips. I mean, I can't do any of this. I live in a apartment with like a basil plant, but
hey, that's nice.
It's he's dead, but my girlfriend takes care of plants a little better than me. I dust off the plastic ones. My last question for you.
Okay.
And I don't even do that because of the dust. I'm allergic to it. Do you think, and this is a guy that, Bob, I know you're familiar with this man. Ian, I don't know if you know about this guy. I think maybe I've told you about him. But Bob, do you think that Monty Don has seen this film?
I would love to know. I bet not. But also, I will say he is where I heard about the movie The Draftsman's Contract. It was
that makes a lot of sense.
Interview with him where it was somebody literally asked him that same question, and I stole his goddamn answer.
Hey, there you go. Well, it's good to steal from this guy. Monty Don, Ian, do you know about this guy?
I don't think I do. I'm trying to piece it together. Yeah, okay.
Montague
British
Dennis
gardener personality.
Yeah, Montague Dennis Wyatt Don, OBE. He's a British horticulturalist. He was the host, the lead presenter for many years of Gardener's World. And then
is
he's
he not
also
any longer?
Oh, you know what? He might.
I think he still is.
No, he might still be, but he has other shows. So I thought maybe he'd just like.
Sure, I'm
switched.
bringing my mother great shame by not knowing this. He's probably been on the background of my house. I didn't know.
It's like a very relaxing BBC gardening show.
And he wears the same like blue sort of chore coat and pants outfit all the time. He has a little costume like a cartoon character, but
he's
it's
like a hobbit, basically, I would say.
He's so cool.
Yeah.
He's also very
cool.
openly like extraordinarily depressed.
Yeah.
And,
whoa, cool.
But he
in
says,
a way that is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he basically says like that he's gotta like get a bunch of dirt all over him, or else the depression will seize him. So good for Monty Don.
I will say the fact that he brought up Draftsman's Contract, a nasty, dirty movie. Who knows?
Yeah, he probably knows Peter Greenaway from some weird like gentleman's club, but like the British kind, not like Spearmint Rhino,
and
but like the kind where
you snogging. He's like, yes, I do. Stuff like that.
one loves snogging.
Oh, Monty. Oh, Peter. Stuff like that.
I think I said this last time Peter Greenaway came up on the show, but Ian does take a medication that makes some of his Peter Greenaway.
God damn it.
You did say this last time, yeah. How dare you?
Well, wait, Ian, I have a question for you.
Sure, man.
You've known Jake a long time.
Yeah.
You know, we just have shared some different moments with him. Do you have any questions about Jake?
Yeah, like care.
From kind of like
finding
school,
out that like
middle
you
school?
can't chinchilla, you can't, like you have to give them dust baths and stuff. They have like
parent-teacher conference going on right now.
I'm sure you probably,
we're like handing off guardianship. This is very nice. I mean, I have so many questions. So my main question is, Jake, I've talked about this. 2 things that sort of fascinate me about his late childhood, as I understand
it. I was literally going to cut this off in 1 minute.
I had a feeling.
We have to have it.
Good, but now people want to know.
Yeah, no, it's gotta.
So,
God damn it.
2 things. One, he has an uncanny memory for like what his girlfriend's dad was watching while they were at her house or something. All right. But 2, did he have all these girlfriends? He has like sort of an infinite roster of girlfriends, and now
I've only talked about I think 2.
That's really
and
all I
one-
remember is like 2,
Yeah.
maybe 3. Yeah.
I don't
Okay,
think
maybe
I
it's
think-
3, but
I
you're
think
always,
maybe
you're
you're
always being
thinking
at
that-
their houses and stuff. And I guess
It was only the one. I think
had
you're
a
just
high school girlfriend,
imagining
and I
that
was
there were
like
different.
barely at her house. And
But
I
also,
guess I'm
I will
just
say,
curious about
Jake,
this.
you probably were not going to your house too often.
No, because
Yeah.
it stank.
Yes.
My mom was there, but no, I was. She was Catholic, so I think if I wanted to, well, her parents were specifically.
Okay, so these are like
So if I wanted to
supervised visits.
spend, if I wanted to spend time with
I
the
see.
girlfriend, often it was going to be in the living room of her house.
So
Okay.
brutal.
Where her dad was watching Generation Kill, and I was scared because he had been there.
And also,
So-
I will say it would like you would mostly remember what someone was watching. I would say
Yeah, that's
Oh, because of my like hyperfixations.
just because you
yeah.
like watching stuff, you know.
I do like watching stuff.
Yeah. Jake, he had some girlfriends.
I had
and
one.
here's my other question. You ever think about how
girlfriends.
lucky you are to know this guy?
I do. Listen, Jake got me into movies. He got me
Yeah.
into all my the cool stuff
Got
I
him
like.
into the
He's a guy
movies,
who's get you into some cool
And
stuff.
I'm trying to sell him on this balloon sinuplasty. Might help him sniff some of that.
Why are you trying to steer us
soil.
away?
What do you mean, why? You've known me all this time.
Yeah,
Well, I'm glad we got to squeeze that in. That was a good
great.
question.
Yeah,
Ian.
good call,
Yes,
Bob.
thank you. Thank you. Well, Bob, thank you for joining us for
Well,
this
this was a
technical
blast.
roundup.
Mhm.
Oh, one more question. Do you ever use a riddle?
No, that's more of a like
Oh.
a lot of like that's like the sifter
Yeah,
thing.
we go-
I don't really.
We go big on riddles, so
Yeah.
that was excited
You
to
do?
see it on screen. Oh yeah, I mean we also use them for like bioconstruction, like earth and construction.
Because the guy was standing on a block of ice. That's how he got hanged.
Yeah, that's a riddle. Yeah.
One of those riddles.
Yeah.
But no, I don't really because I feel like that's a lot of like greenhousey kind of
Yeah.
which
Famous podcast girlfriend was rustling a bag next to the microphone.
hello.
Bob says hello.
Hi.
She says hi.
Oh,
All right, so
I know. I didn't want to take away from Bob's hi. I
yeah,
get to say hi to you
Ian
all the
said-
time, but
Ian
I do
said he
say
didn't
hi.
want to
of
take away from
course.
Bob's hi because he gets to say hi to you all the time.
don't take
but now
away
he
from my
says hi.
high.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
hey,
you go.
don't harsh
Hey,
my freaking bud.
Peter Green to me or something, you know?
This is
Yeah,
a,
Peter Green near.
I think Narvel could use a hit or something.
yeah.
Of just weed,
Absolutely
actually.
have
Only weed,
smoked some of
actually.
that
Yeah.
funny
Actually,
stuff.
famously, it has an addiction problem in the
Yes,
movie.
yeah,
so.
Oh yeah. No, I
Yeah,
think
you know.
all things considered, I think it's probably good that he doesn't.
Yeah.
And one last question: would you, if you were going to threaten some street toughs with a pair of pruning shears, would you use the ones he had, or do you
Well-
think you could use scarier ones?
I was gonna say is that one of the specifics they really nailed is I think they have the Felco 2 pruners.
This is what I
Great,
wanted.
yes,
Which
yes,
is like
yeah.
that is like I actually don't have the same ones, but that is like
That's
a
the
very
Cadillac of pruning
Yes.
shears.
It
Everybody
truly, if
has
you look
this.
up like Reddit gardening, there's like 3 things I recommend. That's one of them. You're right.
That's the best. I
great
use
call. Good eye. Didn't
Okatsune's,
spot 'em.
but
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
you know, but yeah, all that shit, all of their gear, like their boots, the car, like it's all like that is so like exactly what someone would use for real.
You ever use a hori, Bob?
Oh yeah, I've always got my pruners and my hori in my pants
This-
pockets.
My man. Good- I wish I
Oh,
could give
yeah.
you a big hug.
This is sort of a trowel knife.
It is,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay,
Of
looking
Japanese
this up.
extraction.
I figured it looks cool. I'm gonna get one, and I'm gonna hold it by the wrong end.
You
All right,
should.
Bob, do you have anything you'd like to plug? Anything you'd
Yeah.
like folks to check out? It could just be leaving their garden waste alone on the ground.
Just check out what the hell's going on in your own backyard, y'all. Just
Yeah.
take a minute. Just look for a little bit. Okay. I mean, I'm starting to get pissed off.
Yeah. Okay.
Me too.
Okay, folks.
Hey,
Uh-huh.
check out Gardener's World.
But I'll be on tour. I'll be at the Laugh Factory in Denver on Saturday.
Okay, you'll be at Zany's Nashville.
No. It was great to chat with y'all. This was fun.
Oh, it's
Hey,
great to have you, man.
Thanks for coming on. And we'll put it to a vote whether the folks want Bob to come back on the show. We don't do that with anyone else, but we'll put it to a vote about Bob's return. No, come on.
Please.
The listeners don't have any control over us at all.
I
Do
don't
what we
know.
want.
Yeah.
This has been a very special edition of You Must Remember This.
That's a really nice way to. Oh.
Oh.